All right, guys, welcome back to BNB Chain Hackvolution. So excited to have everybody today. We've got a great live stream for you today. We are going to be meeting with Alan from Second Life. He's going to be giving a presentation. Looking forward to that. Do we want to bring Alan up onto the stage now? Alan, so grateful to have you here today. Do you just want to get started and let us know what you're going to be chatting about today?
Yes. Hi everyone. I'm Alan, the lead of Second Life's ecosystem development. I'm very happy to be here today with opBNB, and very nice to meet you guys.
Awesome. Welcome. So I understand that you have a presentation that you're going to give today as part of the workshop for Hackvolution.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, go right ahead.
So let me share my screen for everyone. Okay, everyone, see my shared screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. So let's start it. In recent years, there has been extensive discussions about the metaverse. So even though different people have different explanations and expectations of the metaverse, so there's one thing in common. So according to the most popular views, so there are four major components that constitute the metaverse, which are the AIGC, the XR, blockchain, and the cloud computing. So let's talk about the AIGC first. So the AIGC stands for the AI generated content, so which applies AI to create different content in the metaverse, such as the avatars, spaces, storylines, and etc. So it can greatly improve our productivity. So the XR is extended reality, which includes the VR and AR. So it's the technology that provides the metaverse users with immersive experience. The next one is the blockchain. So because blockchains are born with securities and transparency and decentralization, so users are able to achieve true ownership of their assets in the metaverse. The last one is the cloud computing, so which provides the necessary computing resources for running the entire metaverse. So with these four components, the metaverse can come true. What is Second Life? So Second Life is a platform that offers a comprehensive self-developed toolbox that empowers users and brand partners to easily create distinctive spaces and engage in various activities such as marketing events and social networking. So users can express themselves, interact with others, and generate wealth in the world of Second Life. So based on a flourish ecosystem of creators, Second Life offers a multidimensional marketing and social solutions for both 2B and 2C. So the Second Life is aiming to become a Web3 traffic hub that can connect 1 billion people. So the Second Life's vision is to build an interoperable Web3 social network. So we believe that the interoperability will be the determining factor of the future social network. It allows people to exchange data and assets across different platforms or networks. So with enough interoperabilities, the creators and audiences are able to achieve brand new relationships, which we are never seen before between each other in the metaverse. So for Second Life, in order to be a interoperable metaverse, So we have launched various features and resources to achieve more interactions, so such as marketing and social activities between creators and users. And we also apply multi-chain deployment and cross-chain integration strategy to allow users from different blockchains to interact with each other seamlessly. So as a unique platform in the Web3 metaverse field, the best selling point of Second Life is our toolbox, which makes us a one-stop shop for metaverse creation. So there are currently three major tools in our toolbox: the GoBetty, Lasagna, and the Second Life Maker. So GoBetty and the Lasagna are applications, and the Second Life Maker is a Unity engine plugin. So they are all 100% developed by our team. So the GoBetty is, simply speaking, an avatar outfit editing tool. And Lasagna is our virtual dance show maker. And Second Life Maker is, like I said, the is a Unity engine plugin to create the virtual spaces. Yeah, let's see what can these three tools actually do in the following. So the GoBetty uses AI to simplify the outfit creation process for NFT tops, bottoms, and shoes and accessories. So it's the first step to achieve UGC in Second Life. And by the way, the create to earn loop has fully completed by now. So these avatars outfit are all created by GoBetty. So you can see there's like Black Panther and Marshmallow like, and you can create whatever you like. Yeah, let's see the demo of how GoBetty works. So everything in the preset is free. So you can just here you can just type in the box, tell AI what to do, and give it. So the AI will generate the correct result. Yeah, you can change the size and the position of the text. So to let the AI generate graphics more accurately. So after you give the prompt, here you can tell the AI what you don't like, and it will generate the graphic. So yeah, so this is GoBetty, the outfit editing tool backed by the power of AI. So let's talk about Lasagna. So Lasagna is a virtual dance show editor. So it allows the user to easily create dance performances for their Second Life avatars by simply importing the MMD files, which include the motions, cameras, and the music. The MMD file is the Miku Miku Dance, which is a free animation program which lets the users to create 3D animation movies. Yeah, so let's see a demo. So on November 9th last year, the Second Life held a metaverse dance show called To Live with Friends. So presented by NFT artist Meso. So Nazania is the major tool that behind the entire show. Here's part of the show. So all of the motions, the outfits, and the cameras are all made by Nazania. That's pretty cool, right? Yeah, so sorry, because of the time of our because the matter of our presentation time, so let's stop here. So, but if you're interested, you can search "To Live with Friends" on YouTube for the entire show, which is 30 minutes performance. Yeah, let's see our space editing tool, the Second Life Maker. So the Second Life Maker allows the professional designers to create unique metaverse spaces, and all the created spaces can be traded on Second Life's market space. So there are some spaces designed by the brand partners such as Porsche, CryptoPunks, and Kung Fu City. Let's take a tour in the virtual space of Kung Fu City. Let's see a demo. Yeah, so everything in the Kung Fu City is created by Second Life Maker. The buildings, the architectures. And even the trees. Okay, that's his Second Life Maker. Sorry. Okay, yeah, let's see some application scenarios in the world of Second Life. So the Second Life hold the BNB chains. Sorry. So the Second Life hold the BNB chain's first year anniversary, and there were over 75 exhibited projects and 90,000 new registered users. So we also hold a BNB's Christmas and New Year's celebration last year in our exhibition hall. So and we attracted a lot of projects and users to attend. Yeah, last year on April 15th, so the Second Life hold a metaverse concert for Quivo, the American trending hip hop star from the group called Migos. I believe a lot of you guys know about him, right? From songs like Band and Bougie and Congratulations. So this show is my personal favorite virtual event in Second Life so far. So this show achieved over 52,000 live stream viewers in just 30 minutes, which is the record breaking on Binance Live. So Second Life also have three kinds of finely designed art galleries for NFT artists and collectors to display their NFTs. So there are currently over 300 artists and collectors settled in. The AMA space is for project partners and audiences to directly interact with each other. So the participants can select audio, video, and text chat and various interactions with each other. So there are two kinds of AMA spaces based on the AMA's scale. So there are already lots of projects settled in. Yeah, so let's see some numbers of Second Life so far. So we have over 400,000 Twitter followers, and they are all real, by the way. They are not fake accounts. And over 200K users from Telegram and the Discord group. So we have over 1.5 million registered users. So as of July 20th this year, so which is this month, so the DAU is 25,000 and the monthly active users is about 200,000. So we are very proud that we have outstanding performance in the past 2 years and even under the current bear market. So yeah, thank you for the supporting, and we will keep build. Yeah, so in terms of keep build, we are very happy to see that the launch of opBNB, and we are ready to move the collaboration and the relationship between Second Life and the BNB to the next level. So the relationship between us and opBNB is very simple but extremely important. So by applying the optimistic rollup, the opBNB is able to achieve higher scalability, lower transaction cost, and enhance user experience and have more interoperability. So the opBNB's high performance enables Second Life to make great progress because the average 0.0005 per gas expense on opBNB so makes it more affordable for Second Life's users to conduct on-chain interactions such as minting and trading digital assets. So with more than 4,000 transactions per second scalability, the opBNB can help the Second Life to provide better user experience for people to participate in virtual events and interact with each other without latency. So we are very happy to see the launch of BNB. So hoping to improve the performance of Second Life and come out with more great features with the power backed by the opBNB. Yeah, so we are really looking forward to working more closely with BNB in the upcoming future. Yeah, so please stay in touch with us and yeah, thanks for having me. And have a good day and night, guys.
Alan, that was such an interesting presentation. I've been following Second Life for a while, and just to see all the progress and improvements you guys have made, I didn't know about that concert you have at Quavo. That's really cool. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
Yeah,
That is
please.
that's awesome. So
Yeah.
yeah, great job. And I think that is really going to inspire a lot of the people watching. So guys, make sure to get your applications in for Hackvolution. We want to make sure that you guys are getting all signed up. And that's the point of doing these workshops. We want to show you like what is possible, especially through opBNB. Okay, guys, so we are going to say thank you and move on to our next presentation. So Alan, I really appreciate your time. Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much.
you.
Do we have Jimmy available? Is he ready to go? Here he is. Welcome, Jimmy.
How are you today?
Hi, Jimmy. I'm so good. Thank you for coming, guys. We've got the co-founder of Ultiverse here, another metaverse project. So we're going to learn a lot about the metaverse between our two presentations today. Jimmy, are you ready to get started?
Yes, I'm back. So I kind of lost connection a little bit just now.
Okay. Welcome back. Are you ready to get started with your presentation? Anything you want to tell us before you get going?
Of course, that was a lovely presentation from Alan. I will just briefly introduce us, and I have a demo. And upon demo, I'm going to just present without the PPT. Great. Am I still alive?
Yep, you're
Hi.
still on.
Great. Awesome. Let me start it.
Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here. This is the co-founder of Ultiverse. My name is Jimbo. Would love to introduce you guys what we are doing right now. Before I start, this is actually a demo showing what we have been done. And Ultiverse is primarily a gaming metaverse platform. We are still very young. We launched exactly a year ago. The platform draws its power from MetaFi, which is a synergistic combination of GameFi and SocialFi. And we believe this combination is the catalyst for the expansion of metaverse and Web3 as a whole. It's a pleasure to have this opportunity today to share with you our thoughts on AI, Web3 gaming, and the metaverse. And before I start, I would like to show you a quick demo about what we have been done in the last, since we have launched the project. And this is a video here. Yeah. Yeah, while we are loading the video, I'm just continue to share our thoughts on MetaFi in general. So, well, metaverse, as Adam has been described in different ways, I think everyone have their own definition. But in general, we believe it refers to a digital construct virtual universe, the outside the natural universe, which provides people with a space for creation freedom and a deeper understanding and utilization of the real world. So essentially, it's an advance from the digital existence that exists across both real and the virtual worlds. And are we showing that right now? So I'm sorry, is the video working normally? Somehow it's lagging here.
Yeah, it appears on our end that the video is stuck, having a conversation with our people in the background. If there's any way that we could proceed. Do you have like slides or is it just the video today? Only the video, says our producer here. We'll keep trying to get it. Here we go. Hey, that was an awesome video, honestly. Ultiverse is so cool. Jimmy, are you still with us? Okay, guys, we are going to work on getting Jimmy back in the space. Yeah, very cool video that we just saw. Look forward to hearing a bit more from him in the meantime. Make sure to get your applications in for Hackvolution. Go to our Twitter, that's at BNB Chain. You'll see a link to a blog, which will have a link to an application. Only takes a couple minutes to fill out. Amazing prizes for the winners in each of the different verticals, especially looking for applicants for BNB Greenfield, decentralized storage, and of course our layer 2 solution, opBNB. Really trying to bring in people so you guys can build your products, get some exposure, and hopefully win some awards as you compete with developers all over the world. Jimmy, are you back with us? Okay, Jimmy seems back. I see him now. I see 2 Jimmys in the live stream. Maybe this will be the real Jimmy. Hello, Jimmy. Okay, folks, looks like we have some persistent technical difficulties. They are working hard in the background to get those resolved. Just one more time, make sure to get your applications in for Hackvolution. We've got a full blog on our BNB Chain blog that you can read for all of the details. I want to make sure that everybody gets those applications in before the window closes. I'm just going to go on mute for a little bit and have a chat with our people in the background. Stick around and we'll do our best to get Jimmy back with us in a moment. Hey everybody, if you are still listening or part of the space, we are working on the background to get our next guests ready ahead of time. Looks like Jimmy had some connection issues, so we are just trying to make sure we get our fireside chat lined up, but that was scheduled to be a few minutes later as we expected a bit more from Ultiverse. So if you are listening, thank you so much for your patience. I'm just going to go back on mute. We're going to stand by for a couple minutes till we get everything sorted out. Thank you for your support at BNB Chain. And while we have a couple minutes here just to chill, why not check out the Hackvolution landing page? Why not check out the blog? And you can make sure that you get that application in. Okay, guys, stand by and I'll be back with you in a moment. Okay, guys, it looks like we have our next speakers here. Arno, the amazing senior solutions architect from BNB Chain, is here to lead a fireside chat discussion from Michael from Seller and T-Bot from Block Vision. Arno, how are you doing today? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me as well?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Please feel free to take it away.
Cool, thanks. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining this fire chat. Hope you'll have a good time. Hi, Thibaut. Hi, Michael. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you great, Arno. Thanks for having us today.
Great. Maybe you want to present yourself and then we can jump right into the questions. We can start with Thibaut and then we can go ahead with Michael, I guess.
Thanks, Arno. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Thibaut. I'm responsible for the ecosystem lead at Block Vision. And so Block Vision, we're mostly an infrastructure company. We're providing developers with solutions for them to build their dApp upon. And then we also work on user-focused solution like Explorer on different chains, including BNB Chain, which is one of the chains we're the most bullish on.
Great. Like, Michael, you want to go ahead? Oh, we cannot hear you. I don't know if you're muted.
Is it better?
Yeah, it's great now. We can hear you clearly.
Sorry, I forgot to flip the mic. Hi, everyone. I'm Michael. I'm a core developer at Stellar Network, and we are a quite like a long time project, starting from scaling Ethereum like back in 2018, and now we're doing cross-chain stuff and also a little bit of ZK stuff, and we're very happy to. Thanks for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here to share some of our thoughts on opBNB and BNB Chain in general.
Cool, thanks guys. So I think we can jump right into questions. So yeah, I mean, scalability has been a topic around like since a few years now already into blockchain. So I think it's interesting that in the past few months and year, especially like 1 to 2 years ago, we discovered like more stacks which can really help us to like leverage more scalability solutions. So I had a question for both of you, like, what do you think are the possible, let's say, bottleneck for layer 2 development? Thibaut, you want to go ahead maybe first?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot for this question, Arno. I think it's very important because we see that layer 2s are really getting traction today. And so it's really one very important question to look at. I think, looking at this question, we can look at it from two sides. One would be the developer side, and one would be the user side. From the developer side, I think that there's definitely a complexity of technology as we get layer 2s. And so the fact that, for example, opBNB is based on the optimism stack definitely is going to make it much easier for developers to build upon. And then, being an infra provider, we also see that there's definitely a lot of issues with infrastructure compatibility because people want to use providers that they're familiar with, for example, or they want to have solutions that are there to build upon. And in the case of, for example, opBNB, we feel that the EVM compatibility and also the vibrant ecosystem that you have, for example, on the BNB chain layer 1, definitely means that solution will be available very quickly on opBNB, which is very, very bullish for the chain. And then if you look at it from a perspective of the users, I think some of the big bottlenecks you're going to see in terms of especially adoption are going to be things like usability. And in this case, obviously, layer 2s are going to bring, like with opBNB, higher scalability, lower cost. I think the number mentioned was about 0.005 cents per transaction on average, which means it's going to be very affordable and very cheap. And also with the high throughput, you will have a lot of possibilities, basically. And then in terms of awareness, being part of the whole BNB ecosystem, it will definitely bring awareness to the users that will try to join the new opBNB layer 2. And then finally, I think one of the big things also when people deal with blockchain is going to be the trust issue. And once again here, we do feel that opBNB will benefit from great trust, thanks notably to Binance on one side and also to the BNB chain layer 1 on the other side. So overall, I would say, like, while there are bottlenecks, especially at the beginning, we definitely feel that there is a very, very bright future for the opBNB layer 2.
Thanks, very good insight. I'm definitely, like, from an infrastructure point, like the EVM compatibility, I think is really going to help like the development for builders to easily like build on top of it. Michael, you had any thought as well on the question?
Yeah, I think Sebart already summarized this pretty well. I just want to add a few of my personal thoughts on this. Yeah, obviously, I think in terms of like scalability, like when we are talking about just the numbers, right? We're talking about transactions per second, and we're talking about like the gas fee that user perceive. I think those are all like very important metrics. But also there's scalability in terms of like the team that actually runs the infrastructure. For example, like once we have when we have BNB chain, like we already know that the all the BNB chain nodes and validators are like actually running pretty like beefy hardware to actually support the chain. And then like when we switch to opBNB, I think we're going to have a similar problem where like nodes and validators will have to like there's like a pretty large cost to actually maintain infrastructure just because like of the scalability that it brings. So there is like the bottleneck for the scalability on the teams that actually runs the infrastructure. So I think that's something we need to address. And from the user side of things, I think in terms of scalability, there is also like the scalability of mindset, I would call it, just because like a user have to kind of like deal with another chain and kind of like including the onboarding process, the offboarding process, and maybe like some user confusions with like MetaMask, like how like wallets present the new chain. I think that's also like a kind of like scalability mindset, I would call it. So that is also something that many like say wallet providers and like with newer I guess trends like account extraction, that's going to solve very well. So yeah, I think those are the two like main bottlenecks I'm going to add from my side of things. And I think fortunately for both of which, I think we're on the right track to solving the issues. And I think like opBNB is one of the better, I would say, like long-term solutions to these problems.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, like I think Thibaut mentioned as well, definitely the wallet on the user experience side is going to be quite important from an infrastructure perspective. So just remind me that actually we have a specific bounty on the infra side, which is linked to the wallet like experience. So for people who want to tackle this issue, feel free to jump into it. Actually, and I had another question on the sockets. I mean, we know that the BNB Smart Chain, like the layer 1, is already like having a high throughput capability. So if I'm right now we are like 140 million in terms of gas limit. Nevertheless, like with opBNB, we are able to reach up to 100 million gas thanks to a few adjustments. So I think it's quite like noticeable as well for the community. But I was wondering, like, why do you think that such a high throughput for opBNB matters for the BNB ecosystem? And especially like, what's for builders, what kind of application can potentially leverage like such a high gas limit as well? Michael, you want to start and then we can go out to Thibaut maybe?
Yeah, sure. So I think, yeah, in terms of like throughput, I think BNB is already like quite ahead of the curve, I'd say. I think it has, in terms of like a block gas limit, I think it's at about 100 mil, which is already like 3 times the block gas limit of Ethereum. And also like in terms of gas price, it's already like much lower than Ethereum. So I think for the vast majority of applications, whether it be so like DeFi or like so like lending, DEX. I think DEX in particular are like going to benefit from this like very high throughput and very low gas fee for users. And also for like GameFi, that's particularly useful because like user would not want to spend like a lot of gas interacting with those on-chain games. So yeah, I think the high throughput is obviously very beneficial to users. So basically, it creates more block space to just handle the more traffic on layer 2, and that sort of like reduces the possibility you're going to have a network congestion, because like on the Ethereum main network, whenever there is like say an NFT event or whenever there's like a new like major coin listing, that's always like a very high probability of network congestion, and that's not something like user would like. And so yeah, this kind of a high throughput is very crucial for like applications that require very highly frequent transactions. And so yeah, I think in particular, just like I would say DEXs, and in particular those like DEXs with like margin or like with derivatives are going to benefit from this high throughput quite a lot, because usually they'll have to kind of like when the market, especially when the market is like volatile, like users would want their like actions to be reflected very quickly. Like they don't want to see like network congestion of any kind. So yeah, I think those are my thoughts on this.
Yeah, definitely when there is like some high events or like NFT minting or a new token which is getting launched like on the text, for sure, like having a high throughput can be quite like useful for people to avoid paying high gas fee as well. How about you, Thibaut? Do you had any thought about it as well?
Well, I think Michael really, mentioned like most of it, and also mentioning about like games, because obviously in GameFi, people who play games, they don't want to wait. They want their interactions to be there. They don't want the gaming experience to be interrupted by having to wait on transaction confirming or something like that. So that's definitely one of the thing. I would say maybe like one thing I feel like we need to consider is also the experience overall of Web3 compared to Web2. Because let's say like when you're doing something with your bank on Web2, especially if it's going to be something, within the bank or something like that, like moving from one account to another, you're not going to pay any fee. And it's going to be instantaneous most of the time. And if you're with Web3 at the moment, you're still going to have to pay a transaction fee, for example, when you're interacting with DeFi products and so on. So I would say in terms of onboarding, the fact that you have, for example, a layer 2, which is going to be much faster and also minimize the transaction fee, will definitely help, especially because I imagine there will be some protocol which will want to, for example, cover the gas fee so that users, don't necessarily have to pay for the gas fee or something like that in terms of the onboarding process. And so I can definitely imagine that this will definitely help, thanks to the high throughput, thanks to the lower transaction cost, a lot in terms of GameFi and a lot in terms of DeFi, and also, as Michael mentioned, for DeFi products, and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, it's a really good point. I mean, like even the bank that you mentioned, for sure, like if it's for the within the same account from one to the other is usually like free. But I mean, sometimes we forgot as well that at the end, like there's a lot of multiple layers in like standard like Web2 as well. Like there's the base layer, then there's multiple application built on top of it to like make it more seamless for users as well, adding more complexity as well, which is something that we are trying to see as well. I think right now is blockchain technology where we have like L1, L2, which are more maybe vertical as well. So really like talking about vertical, it's like what kind of use cases do you believe are more suitable for like opBNB in general? Like we talked about DeFi, GameFi, but like what maybe I don't know if you had other like use cases that can be pop up, like knowing that it's EVM compatible. So what was your view on like use cases, Michael?
Yeah, just as you mentioned, because it's EVM compatible, in reality, like any sort of use case that makes sense for us to be put on Ethereum can be migrated kind of seamlessly, whether from like migrate from Ethereum or like from the BNB like chain main chain. That's like both should be very simple to do, just because of the like 100% EVM compatibility of opBNB versus the main chain. And so, yeah, I think still like the use case that would make most sense on opBNB would be, personally, I think would be like highly frequently traded, so like DEXs and including derivative DEX, and also like GameFi projects. I think it's kind of interesting that like some GameFi will still want to choose their own chain just because they kind of wanted this like full control, more like this like separate ecosystem kind of idea. But also I can think some GameFis that maybe like they put more emphasis on the like say security of the asset. They would kind of want like opBNB, which is like a better like say middle ground between a like fast transaction speed, very low gas fee, and also there's like some sense of security just because it kind of uses the like OP stack to kind of route the things to back to the BNB chain main chain, so that including like both assets and like and also like security, it kind of adds this like extra layer of data preservation on the BNB main chain. So I think, yeah, those are like all very good use cases for opBNB. And I think there are some like new applications will also pop up just because like the very low gas fee on opBNB. For example, like some decentralized identity applications it would be like very, just because like the gas fee is so low, like some application can just cover it for like whenever the user needs to say like upload a DID or like to actually have some kind of like on-chain record or something. I think those are also like very useful cases that could be put on opBNB. Yeah, I think that's my idea.
And even like for DeFi, I think like having such a high throughput with, I think for opBNB, so we have a block every second with like 100 million as gas limit. I think like it's helping as well to avoid maybe having, I mean, we know on L1s we have a lot of MEV happening, especially in DeFi, like arbitrage, fund running, sandwich. So I think like for users, like for retail, moving to L2 for like such kind of DEXs might be quite interesting as well to avoid being used as basically like as extractable of value. How about you, Thibaut? Do you had any like thought on this question as well about like what kind of use cases do you believe are more suitable for opBNB?
Yeah, thanks, Arno. I think we already kind of covered the issue really, and Michael had a great answer on that. Definitely believe that it will be mostly DeFi and GameFi on like the two main things. I would say we can also imagine maybe some more slightly different use case that maybe we don't talk about that much. I mean, because you have such a high throughput, because you have such a low transaction fee, you could potentially imagine something like Internet of Things use, where, for example, you would want to, like track some products, for example, like, or even make sure that, some products are original and make sure like at different points, of the value chain, how they move and something like that. So that would be a possibility. And I guess like also, as Michael mentioned, something more related to identity, like we see, for example, in some of the chains, a few social network, like similar to Twitter and so on, like popping up. And, some projects want to have everything on chain. And obviously that would be something extremely difficult on a layer 1. While on a layer 2, you definitely have more possibilities of making that happen. So there's definitely a lot of new use cases that will be created, and probably a lot of them that we cannot really think about today, but that will happen and will simply develop as more developers start building on the L2 and more great brains work on possibilities on the L2.
All right, I think it was interesting that you mentioned like supply chain, a bit like an IoTs. I know like a lot of people talked about it during, let's say, the ICO bubble in 2017, 2018. But I think maybe, as you mentioned, like maybe L2s can be the solution to like really deliver such kind of supply chain, let's say, level or layers. Because as you know, like when you have a lot of IoT devices, it can have a high cost, and we need to have a high throughput as well to maintain it. So having a layer 2 like opBNB can definitely help. On top of that, like what do you think? What are the possible developments, let's say, for the future for layer 2 solutions? We have opBNB, we have like other like ZK solution like outside of BNB chain as well, like we have Ethereum. They have a lot of layer 2s as well, or other chain as well. Like, what do you think are, let's say, the possible future or development within this technology? Thibaut, if you want to go ahead first.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the question, Arno. I think like this is obviously something that's going to be very important, especially as now opBNB is in testnet. And we already see, for example, that a few other chains on the Optimism stack that are already live and that are gaining a lot of traction. The fact that opBNB is built on the Optimism stack is actually something really good, because you will have an environment of shared growth. And so that means that part of the improvements, for example, that you see on opBNB could be ported to Optimism, and part of the improvement, for example, created by Optimism could then be included in opBNB. So the fact that they're not going to, because they work on a similar stack, they're not going to work in silos, but actually will each development will benefit other chains, is something that we're actually really looking forward to and we're really hopeful on. And we think that there will definitely be a lot of improvements in terms of scalability, in terms of throughput, in terms of capability, notably thanks to the strong synergies that you will be able to see.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good point that using like a OP stack is quite interesting to have a good synergy within those like L2 ecosystem. How about Michael? You then thought on this specific, let's say, possible development of layer 2s like around all different type of ecosystem?
Yeah, I think so. Like layer 2 in the long term is definitely going to be like sort of like I would say the only way that people should interact with any kind of a blockchain application, just because like interacting with main chain would just like stop making sense at some point, just because like it's slow and the gas fee is high, and the main chain is really just reserved as a like a settlement layer for all the layer 2s. So I think like opBNB is one of the and also like the OP stack is one of, I think it would like I think on this part, I actually disagree with like what Vitalik says. Like Vitalik says, like only people all like move to ZK, which I don't think that will be, even in the long term. I think many people will also be very satisfied with like the security that an optimistic model provides. In fact, I think a kind of a combination of both would make the most sense. Like for in the majority of cases, we still use the optimistic route, but like in cases where like absolute security and absolute finality is needed, we can like selectively say use a ZK proof to provide a more like sense of security for this like particular use case or something. So I think a combination of the two will be something we're going to see. I think already seeing like on the OP stack there is like some like governance proposal of like including a ZK technology into like incorporating that onto the OP stack. I think at some point like maybe the opBNB chain will also like benefit from that kind of like a hybrid solution. So I think that's like one thing, one trend of the layer 2 scalability world is kind of like a combination of both worlds. So and the other one is that just because like like most layer 2 solutions are very like modular, I would say. You can actually swap out, say, the data storage layer from, so like the main BNB chain to, for example, BNB Greenfield, which is like a new storage like solution for the entire BNB stack. So at some point, maybe we can have like a hybrid like data storage solutions, because like Greenfield is like kind of specializes in storage. It can probably like even lower the gas fee even more, so that it can just be like negligible. So yeah, I think overall like layer 2 is just about like taking this like a big monolith of like what Ethereum used to be, and kind of dividing that up to more like modular pieces, and it's better in terms of like both engineering and also in terms of like a user perception. So you can like lower the gas fee, like high, make the throughput higher, all that. So yeah, I think just like the future of layer 2 would just be the future of really like any sort of blockchain infrastructure development. So I think that we're going to see like many different trends, like many still like new explorations in all directions. But I think overall it's going to be much better than like with the situation that we had with like monolithic layer 1 chains. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. The question is like, how many layers are we going to build on top of the layer 2 as well? We'll see in the future. But I think it's definitely kind of a good question. Maybe coming to like another type of topic, maybe like I will maybe start with Thibaut. I mean, could you give us actually a brief overview of like Block Vision and what exactly you guys are doing, like in general?
Yeah, thank you very much, Arno. Like, thanks for the opportunity to talk a little bit about Blood Vision. So, Blood Vision, we're mostly a infrastructure provider. We work really on solutions for builders, and so that was something we did, for example, on BNB Chain Layer 1, where we provide RPC services. We provide also APIs for builders, and so they would be able to use those APIs to build any type of project, like an NFT marketplace, a DEX, and so on. And also, I would say like we're deeply committed overall to the BNB ecosystem. So it's also really when we saw that BNB was moving on to opBNB, for example, we decided we also want to build solutions on opBNB and also on Greenfield that Michael mentioned, that offers a lot of possibilities. We are a validator and also a service provider. So we really work, like on different facets, I would say, of the whole BNB ecosystem, and we feel that there's so much excitement and so much possibilities on this ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely. Like for people who don't know, you're definitely like a validator on the testnet of Greenfield and storage provider as well. So it's been quite interesting to be able to use it as a primary storage. When I was doing my testing, everything was working smoothly. How about you, Mike? Maybe you can give us a small overview as well of Seller and like what exactly you're doing, and maybe after all, like maybe more like about the asset bridging as well. I know you have more knowledge about it. Maybe you can have a small discussion around it as well.
Sure. Yeah, we are really a blockchain. We call it like interoperability protocol. So what we want to do is like we want to enable this one-click user experience to access. It's like fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens, or entities, DeFi's, GameFi's, governance, like any sort of like blockchain application you can imagine. Like we want to enable this one-click user experience to access anything on multiple chains. And this is like for users, and for developers, we can enable them to build this like interchain native dApps that uses like the seller, we call interchain messaging SDK, to gain very efficient liquidity utilization and the kind of coherent application logic across multiple chains. And so, yeah, this is really like our vision to just build this like one-click user experience, and also like so kind of like deploy once, like run on any chain kind of like developer experience for users. And this is like what we excel in terms of like being a chain interoperability protocol. And yeah, so that's like a brief overview of what our protocol does.
Nice. And how about your, like, let's say, technical support that you provide regarding opBNB? Like, how does Seller help on this technicality, let's say? How do you support it?
Yeah, so just because like the opBNB is very is I would say 100% compatible with EVM, it's going to be a very easy integration into our existing both like say asset bridge and also like a message interchain messaging framework. It's both going to be like a very simple integration into the existing framework. And in terms of like a process, like what we're going to do is like we're going to just because like Cetera is kind of also like a decentralized validator network just to support the bridging, we kind of have to like make a proposal to like we're going to integrate opBNB, and like we're going to need like you to kind of like monitor this new chain called opBNB as validators, and like the validator is going to start monitoring the chain and start like say attesting those like cross-chain messages to and from opBNB. And it's all like a very seamless process. It doesn't need any kind of like new code even, and we'll be able to support both like asset bridges and also like NFTs and the like interchain messaging for opBNB with this governance proposal. Like once it's activated, we're going to be able to support opBNB, and all our existing like UI front end like is going to automatically like start supporting that.
Nice. I mean, I really invite the community to check it out. Seems quite interesting. How about you, Tibor? Like, actually, as a dev, like, how can I really benefit from Block Vision? I mean, I see, if I'm right, you have some APIs as well for people to connect to opBNB. So maybe like you can explain more like for a dev, like how can they really leverage Block Vision?
Yeah, just realized I was muted. Thank you for the question, Arno. I think, yeah, so, in the case of BNB L1, for example, like we've definitely been providing a lot of APIs on the layer. And we actually even won a grant on that, I believe, last year. So that was really, we were really thankful for that, and, for the recognition also on the work we've been doing. In terms of opBNB itself, I would say the area we decided to focus on and really tackle is more on the side of an explorer. And so, gathering all the data needed, for example, to build an explorer that would be extremely user-friendly and that would be able to provide users with not just their transactions, but also information on the whole chain in general, in terms of like statistics, in terms of, the kind of usage that you see in certain area, like, for example, NFT, DeFi, and so on. So we really want to build this solution that would be kind of like, the one place where you could get all the information you want on the chain to know what is happening, where it's happening, and kind of get a good understanding, both for users and also for developers. And so getting all that data, we obviously also plan to, at some point, open that data to some APIs for developers so that they would be able to deliver and create some amazing products from it.
Yeah, it seems, I mean, that's really great that you're able to provide so many tools. Actually, like, besides providing tools, like, how do you really support as well, like a user, for example, not BNB? Like, I know you are deeply committed to the BNB ecosystem and you're providing like long-term solutions as well. And like, beside APIs, like, how do you really promote as well, like for support, developers and users within the ecosystem too?
Yeah, thank you very much. So, like, in terms of users within the ecosystem, we participate in a lot of solutions that BNB is offering. For example, we're part of the Kickstart program for developers that want to start a new project, and so we're going to provide them support in terms of the services that we use so that they can get started. We are also going to have extremely scalable solutions, I would say, for developers, so that as the project is going to evolve, they can move from one solution to another in a very seamless way. And then, like, if I talk more about users in particular, and especially on opBNB, right? We've been, as we mentioned, on the whole BNB ecosystem for a long time, and we're really committed to it. So, like, what we're really working on for now is opBNB Vision, which is actually live in beta right now at opBNBvision.com. And so the idea really is to build that explorer that is going to be very user-friendly and give users all the information they want about their transactions they're doing, everything that is happening on the whole chain. And then obviously possibility to have some APIs on that also in the future.
Great. I mean, I think we'll come back later to block vision because I'm like opBNB vision. I think I'm really interested about like the key feature that you have. But before that, maybe I just want to jump back to Michael. I mean, I know guys, you're really good into like ZK Bridge as well. Like, so I was wondering, like, Michael, how really can ZK Bridge perform and like support as well BNB ecosystem?
Definitely. Yeah, thanks for the great question. So yeah, we did, as you mentioned, we have like started exploring the like entire ZK space. In fact, we have one of our new efforts called the Brevis.network. And I think Brevis is like I think Latin for being like succinct, and that's like the core technology of the current like current blockchain, like how they're going to use the ZK bridge, like with the succinct like snark proofs, and those are like the core of like what ZK bridge and most of the like ZK applications, ZK blockchain applications are based on. And yeah, so in terms of like technology, the ZK bridge is basically just a more, I would say like a more trustless like bridging protocol, but like compared to what we currently offer, which is like as I said, a group of decentralized validators like individually monitoring the chain and the testing to those cross-chain transactions. So instead of all that, ZK bridge is going to take it's going to monitor the ZK. It's going to monitor the blockchain and kind of like generate a mathematical, like cryptographically secure proof that a cross-chain transaction happened. And also it's going to test that the actual consensus mechanism of the underlying chain is working. And so like we all have like mathematical proof for that. So we don't have to rely on any third party to kind of like relay this message to the other chain. So that's like a huge step up in terms of security. And but of course, like in terms of cost, this adds like just because it kind of assumes that in the pessimistic case, like someone's gonna cheat and lie, right? So you has to like resort to mathematics, to cryptography to kind of prove that that is not the case. So that actually adds a little bit of cost in terms of operation. But I think very fortunately, like many teams are working on improving the performance and like lowering the cost of any to generate like a ZK proof and to make there's also scalability for like a ZK solutions. I think many teams are working towards that, including us are also like working towards that. Yeah, so I think ZK bridge is currently on testnet. It's not on mainnet yet, but I think we're working towards like putting on the mainnet. And once it's on mainnet, it's going to be as I said, it's like just because like opBNB is like EVM compatible, it's like very easy to add support for opBNB to the ZK bridge. Also, it's just like another EVM chain. Of course, like opBNB has its own like consensus mechanism, but I think we've already studied the OP stack, and I think we'll be able to support that on the ZK bridge.
That's great. I mean, do you have team like, do they have time to do other stuff as well? I mean, are you exploring other solution currently? Like, what exactly are you doing internally as well? Like, can you give us some like information of what you're exploring like outside as well?
Yeah, we are like actually like doing multiple things at the same time. So for our existing bridging solution, I think it's already like quite mature, and it's already like in production for very long and without like any like security incidents, and we're very like proud of that. And we have like our team to kind of like maintain the existing bridging solution. And like also we have like a very strong like monitoring in place so that if anything goes wrong with the bridging, we're kind of like very focused on security, right? Like anything goes wrong with the bridging, we'll be able to like take action against that. But so far, like everything is running very smoothly. And in terms of I think that the majority of our new effort is on the ZK stuff, whether it be ZK Bridge, whether it be the Brevis network, which is a omni-chain data attestation platform. So like I think in terms of like most of our engineering efforts are in that area, and but we also like expanding our bridging partners to like new chains like opBNB and also new projects that want like say whether it be asset listing support, whether it be like a new NFT bridging request, or even like more complex cross-chain use cases. We're able to like talk with partners and support them.
Great. I mean, you must be quite busy on your day-to-day job as well. Actually, like coming back to Thibaut, I mean, I had a chance to try like opBNBvision.com, so I really like recommend everyone to go check it out. It's really like smooth and fast as well. I was wondering, like maybe you can give a few tips on like what are the key features that basically our community can utilize within opBNBvision.com.
Yeah, thank you very much, Arno. So I would say like opBNB Vision, what we're trying to do really is to provide a great explorer that's also going to be very user friendly and present the information that people want to see, directly. So currently, in terms of key feature, obviously we're going to have some of the more basic feature like transaction tracking, because you want to be able to check the transaction that you have and inspect the transactions. You will also support batches, for example, to see like what is happening in terms of like the batch information, see the group of transactions together, and so on. Some a bit more advanced things we currently support are going to be, for example, token tracking. So you can track the different tokens, for example, on the opBNB network, and so that would be useful, for example, when you want to make some decisions in terms of understanding like what this token is doing, and also to see in terms of like the traction that some tokens are getting. And then also, because we see that obviously there's going to be, I mean, Michael mentioned about it, the people will want to bridge, obviously, from L1 to L2 and from L2 to L1. And so obviously the Explorer already supports those movements, right? Because you want to see that when you bridge, the transaction, went through and so on. So we definitely support, like the tracking of transaction from L2 to N1 and vice versa. And finally, the other thing I would say that is really, really nice is the ability to get statistics about the whole network. So get statistics about the whole opBNB network. Currently, in terms, for example, of like, the usage that you see, the number of addresses using the network and so on. So we're definitely going to add more features, more functionalities as time goes on, because obviously opBNB is in testnet, and the product right now, opBNB Vision, is currently in beta, but we're definitely very hopeful to launch a lot of very exciting new functionality very soon on that.
Yeah, that's great. So for example, if I go to opBNBvision.com, if I go to statistics, to top contracts, I can see that the first one in terms of account, I have like almost 70,000 like accounts. So it's, I mean, we can see that opBNB has been quite heavily tested by the community as well. And it's quite interesting to see that so many users are already trying to use it. So really looking forward to see the next few weeks as well. I mean, we can see that there's already a lot of, let's say, key feature within like this Explorer. Do you have any other plan to improve it or to add functionality? Like what's the main, let's say, internal roadmap about opBNB Vision? What's the next target, let's say?
Yeah, thanks, Arno. Like we definitely have a lot, I would say, like in the box, and so we're really trying to ship as much as we can and really quickly for people. So I would say, like in terms of the innovations we really want to provide, some of the plans we have for the future are going to be like expanding the scope of the Explorer. So the idea is we're going to offer really more than just basic statistics on the network, but it will also be the place where you can find information about DeFi. So the plan, for example, would be to offer a DeFi dashboard, and people would be able to see like some of the main protocol on opBNB and their TVL, for example, and the movement of that TVL over time, over certain time frames, so that they understand, for example, okay, this is a new protocol. Maybe I want to like try this protocol and see how it goes, or they want to see like which one are the big protocol that they can trust directly, and so on. So they're going to be like a lot of integration that we'll have to do, a lot of new data that we'll have to index to do that. But the ability to offer a DeFi dashboard, we think, will be very valuable for users of the opBNB network, and also for the developers. And then also another thing we want to do is do the same thing, but for NFT. And so the idea would be, for example, having a dashboard for NFT so that users can check, for example, the volume on certain NFT collection, but also the volume on different NFT platforms. So they can understand directly, for example, where the liquidity would be if they have an NFT collection and if they want to trade this NFT collection, for example. And so that would also be very useful, I believe, for developers, for users, and also for people who simply report on, the healthiness of a chain and how a chain is developing, to be able to get all that data at a glance. Because we definitely believe that having data that is readily available is only going to make a chain better, is only going to benefit the whole ecosystem. Finally, in terms of some other feature we plan to add, we also plan to have a portfolio tracking solution within the Explorer so that users would be able to either connect their wallet and understand like the portfolio based on their wallet, or simply input an address in the Explorer and also get information about an address and also the whole portfolio in terms of DeFi, NFT, and so on. So that would be much more advanced, I would say, than the basic Explorer. Again, in the idea that we want to present data in a way that is very accessible, because when we believe that when there is data, everyone is going to win.
Great. I mean, definitely being able to visualize data is something that is really important. Michael, I had a final question for you, and then maybe we can go into closing thought as well. And what is your like personal thought on like L2 and opBNB in general, and what do you think the future is going to give us for the next, let's say, few months, or what's the plan for 2024?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I sort of mentioned, I think personally, we started off as a scalability protocol on top of Ethereum back in 2018. So, like back in the days, we're doing state channel, which is like this more specialized, like pure kind of like layer 2 scalability. It kind of enables like very fast, very like zero cost, like microtransactions, micropayment across two different parties. And so, yeah, we're definitely like very bullish on the entire like L2 space. It's just seeing like coming from like state channels to like plasma side chains. All those solutions are kind of have some issues of some sort. But like now we ended up at it's just like we kind of agreed upon like a roll up, which is just like a very like a sweet spot in terms of like all the properties. Like you have very good throughput, you have very good bandwidth, and you have very good like in terms of like gas cost and security. Like it's kind of like strike the perfect balance between like all the like main prongs of like what scalability spectrum needs. So yeah, I think opBNB like and also like the OP stack in general, I think is a very good direction of what layer 2 is going to proceed, at least in the short term. So like we're going to have this like optimistic model of security, like where the most majority of applications will benefit from that kind of like a compromise between security and throughput. Yeah, I think the newer stuff that people are working on, like I think one of the most important ones is like account abstraction, which is I think on layer 1 it made less sense, just because like having a smart contract wallet and also having like applications pay for the gas cost is kind of like too much on layer 1. But I think on layer 2 and like on some like I also like opBNB is sort of like a layer 3 solutions on top of BNB chain, which is already like a layer 2 solution on top of Ethereum. So yeah, on layer 2s and layer 3s, I think newer technologies like account abstraction is gonna make a lot of sense and for users. And like we're finally going to have a world where like users can like do blockchain transactions without even noticing they're doing blockchain transactions underneath. So I think we're quite close to that vision, and we're going to see like newer protocols and products like popping up with that kind of feature built in. So yeah, I think overall like it's very bullish for layer 2, even in like though the market isn't kind of like calm, but like there's like a bunch of teams building different like very exciting things underneath. So yeah, personally, like I'm very happy to see like what all teams gonna like bring up in like this year and like also into 2024. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. So that means I think like a lot of people are working, especially like as you mentioned, like people should use it without exactly knowing like that the underlying tech is powered by blockchain technology. So I think we are slowly getting there actually. How about you, Thibaut? Do you have any final thought as well on the future of L2 and scalability?
Yeah, I think like what you both mentioned, both Michael and you, Arno, like about the idea that in the end probably users will not really care about the layer they're using. I think like for really the ability to onboard new users, there needs to be a seamless ability for users to go from an exchange to like a DEX to a different dApp and then back to an exchange without really having to think okay, I'm on layer 1, I'm on layer 2, and this complexity and having to change the chain, for example, on MetaMask and so on, because there would be, it's just too complex. It's just too complex. So there's going to need to be some solutions and a lot of integrations for users so that it becomes very easy. And I think layer 2s definitely will, are a step in this direction. And I think, like, if we look at a few years from now, people will not really think like, okay, I'm right now on L2 or on L1. They will think that L2 is probably the only layer for most of the users who don't really dig into the technical of what is happening, and only people who maybe were there before the whole layer 1, layer 2, and so on understand the difference. But like for most users, they will simply interact with layer 2 or maybe even layer 3 in a few years potentially, without considering the layer really they're interacting with. And I would say, to be able to catch up with a lot of user friendliness that people have in terms of Web 2, for example, Web 3 will need to be able to provide the solutions, and this is definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think we are slowly going to get there. So thanks everyone for joining today. I think it was really an interesting session. For sure. I mean, we're going to push the recording as well online, so feel free to review it and see what's happening next. We'll going to come back tomorrow, so hopefully you'll be able to join us as well and continue like building. I mean, if you have any questions, feel free to join our Discord. Feel free to join BlockVision Discord as well if you are using the solution, or same for Seller. So thanks everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you,
Bye.
Arno. Thank you, everybody, for coming to the space today. We had a great time. Make sure to get your applications in for Hackvolution. And as
Sure.
Arno just said, we are going to be back tomorrow with another workshop. Stay tuned on our Twitter. We'll be posting details about that. But once again, thanks to all of our speakers today and everybody in the audience. And we'll see you soon. Get those applications in. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.